Hi, this is Amrita Sukumar, and I'm bringing to you this podcast called Unsettling. Look around you. Everyone is trying to create their own story. Make a tiny change in someone's life by just following their passion and in turn, inspiring the others to follow suit. This podcast brings to you stories of people who have defied the definition of settled set by the society and have created their own. They have found happiness in their version of settled. What is yours? Facts always appall us and throw us off the hook. Today, on Unsettling, I have a person whose job is to decide whether these appalling facts make to the Guinness Book of World Records or not. And so I have with me Mr. Swapnil Dangrikar. Hi, Swapnil. How are you?
Hi, Amrita. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good as well. Thank you for doing this with me today. Thank you for taking out time from your life.
My pleasure.
So, how has your journey been so far? What all have you done, and how did you decide to be an adjudicator? Adjudicator? Am I pronouncing it right?
Adjudicator, that's the right one. Yes.
Yes.
So, to be honest, even I did not know a few years back that this kind of a job profile existed. Because even if I go and meet somebody, even today, many of them wouldn't even know about it. So, I have to give a little explanation of exactly what I do.
Yeah.
So, as I said, even I didn't know about this. I started off working when I was quite young. I started working when I was just about 17. But
Wow.
that was the time when I was studying as well. I was doing my graduation in commerce. And while I was doing that, I was working at a couple of BPOs, just to earn some money and not to waste a lot of time, because commerce may not a lot of people really go to college.
Okay.
So I started working. I kept working in BPOs for a few years, and then I finished my graduation in commerce. Then I did a diploma in marketing from Wellinkers in Mumbai, and then I got a chance to work with India's biggest winery. So it's situated in Nashik itself. That's where I belong to. So I worked there for a few years. I got into marketing then because I had quite a keen interest in advertising and marketing, and that's exactly the kind of role that I was getting there. So worked there in marketing, events, and so on, and that was the kind of experience that was required for this position, for somebody to work as an adjudicator with Guinness World Records. These were some of the skills or the qualities that they were looking for. So that's how I came here, because of the experience and I think overall as a personality, that's what they wanted.
Okay, wonderful. But how did you, what were the factors that helped you decide to choose a career path in marketing? Did you always know, or was it something that triggered? A trigger point somewhere?
No, so honestly, to be very honest, I did not really have a proper plan of exactly what I wanted to do. I took up commerce just because a lot of my friends were going into the same college. So that's how actually it started. Otherwise, I was a person who would have probably taken up arts because I liked that stream as well. But when it comes to choosing your education, there are a lot of other factors. So India में वैसे ही होता है typically कि ऐसे कहा जाता है कि if you go to arts, the chances of getting a job will be slimmer. Commerce ले लो उससे अच्छा, you will have better options and so on. So I think typically that's what happened also. So I got into commerce. While I was there, I think slowly I started to realize that I was getting better at communication initially, and even now to a large extent, I'm kind of an introvert person. If there is no need to talk, I wouldn't talk. So, but while I was studying, and as I said, I was also working at that time in BPOs, which led to a lot of constant talking with customers and clients and a lot of other people. And that was a lot of interaction with a lot of foreigners as well. So I think that kind of brought out a different side of me. And I did my majors in commerce wasn't actually public relations. It wasn't in like accounting or maths or something. So there was a PR option in commerce, which I took up. And then I think that interest triggered on. And I was always kind of a person who thought a little out of the box when it came to improving something. So if there was some process that was happening or some way that a product was packaged, I could always think of a different thing that they could have done to make it better. So I think I had that slight interest in advertising and marketing somewhere. And that kept growing with what I studied, and I eventually took up admission with Wellinger for a diploma in marketing while I was working in Mumbai. And that was a real change because the people, the faculty there, it was all great. So it was a nice environment to actually nurture this small seedling of interest that I had in me. And that's when I decided, yeah, this is the kind of field I would like to work in. And eventually I got to work for the next 5 years in core marketing profile as well.
Okay. Wow. Everything led to where you are today, and everything fell into place. That's wonderful. Yeah. So,
Yes, I think so.
how did you land the role of an adjudicator for GWR? Can anyone apply?
So Guinness World Records is a quite a tight-knit company in a way. It is publicly seen a lot. Most of the people on the planet would know about Guinness World Records or the Guinness book, as it's more popularly called. So, but internally, it's not a company that would publicize a lot. Like in terms of they need to hire somebody, it would be mostly through internal reference. So fortunately or luckily, I knew somebody who was already working for Guinness World Records. He was the only representative for India. And we were talking once. This is the time when I was just leaving or thinking of leaving my first job of where I'd worked for about 3.5 years in marketing, and I wanted to do something different. So he got in touch with me saying, there is something coming up. We are looking for somebody to handle records happening in India, Southeast Asia region. Would you be interested? I said, of course. I don't think anybody would deny this kind of an opportunity, because working with Guinness itself seemed very prestigious even on that phone call. And then later when I got to know what all things it includes, I was certain that this is something that I would definitely want to do. So he got in touch with me. He put me in touch with me later with the team in London, which is our head office. So we went through a lot of video calls, video interviews. There were some tests as well that they conduct to kind of judge your personality, judge your character, because the role needs you to be very unbiased, very professional, and a lot of other features and skills. So after all these tests, evaluations, and looking at the experience that I had in events and media, etc., I'd done a lot of interviews in my previous job roles for national and state channels as well. So that experience also I had, which is something that comes in handy with being an adjudicator as well, because you're constantly in front of the media. So I think all these factors came together, and that's how I think they selected me. So I consider myself quite lucky to be here.
Wow. So everything has been working out well for you, touch wood. That's a good thing.
Touch wood, yes.
Can you explain the responsibilities of an adjudicator? What does an adjudicator do?
So in simple terms, an adjudicator is a judge. So my role is to decide if the record is happening as per our guidelines or not. So anybody who wants to do a record, they have to apply with us through our website. Then they receive the guidelines, which are basically the rules which you have to follow to do the record. It's not like you think of an idea and you just execute it and then you come up to us saying, I think I've broken a record. You have to follow our rules, which is globally the same, and only then the record can be considered. So I discuss the rules and regulations with someone who wants to do a record and explain to them what is required. And when they are performing, I am there, they do it in front of me. If the record is done as per our guidelines, if I feel that it is satisfactory, then I can approve that record and hand over our official certificate to them right away. But if I feel that it's not successful, I can deny them the record and it could be a failed attempt. So once the record is approved on the spot, then I approve it on our website and the rest of the formalities. So yes, basically it is to judge, verify, and see if the record is approved or not as per our guidelines.
Okay. How many people are there in this role in our country right now?
Well, in India, it's just two of us, me
Uh-huh.
and my colleague who's now based in Kolkata. So we both look after India and Southeast Asia to give a broader vision. But it's also not very country specific. So if we are called up for some record in a different part of the world, like few months back before this lockdown started, I'd been to Qatar. So
Oh.
it could be anywhere. If they require us somewhere, then we can travel there. So it's not a very specific geography, but broadly, yes, India and Southeast Asia. That's what I and my colleague look after. But globally, there are about 20 of us who are all spread around different parts of the world, and they look after the region close to them.
Okay. Okay. That's how it works. So, do you miss
Yes.
media and marketing, and how is it similar or different from being an adjudicator right now?
So honestly, yes, I do miss the hardcore marketing aspect of it,
Uh-huh.
because this role is more about an authoritative and more of a media person, and that kind more like an audit media and authority kind of a mixture. So it's a
Mhm.
different role. It's a very unique job role because there are hardly any other jobs like these.
Mm.
So it's unique in its own way. It has its own perks, but on the side, yes, I do miss the actual core marketing. Being with colleagues, sitting in an office, brainstorming over an idea for a
Yeah.
new product or for a new service that you want to launch. So which is also quite a high in itself. But yeah, I kind of miss that some days. But when I'm traveling, when I'm at a location, to verify the record, I don't miss it.
Great. So it has its pros and cons. Okay.
Oh yeah, it has a lot of pros as well. I think if there was a list of, slightly modest of me to say, but if there was a list of coolest jobs in the world, I think I would want to put this one up there.
Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. It is pretty. So,
Yes.
well, can you share the memory of the first ever event that you covered? Okay.
So coincidentally, the first record which was given to me to verify was in Nasik itself.
Oh.
So just about 100 kilometers north of Nasik city is a twin mountain peaks called Mangi Tungi.
Mm-hmm.
On these peaks, there is a huge Jain temple, and they had started creation of a Jain idol.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a statue carved from the mountain itself in stone, which was claimed to be the tallest Jain statue in the world.
Okay.
So that was the first record which was given to me, and
Mhm.
I think it's quite a good sign. I don't know, but it felt good to start out on your own home turf in a way. So it was the first record that I went to check, and being such a big scale in terms of the size of the statue as well. It is more than 110 feet in height and complete
Wow.
solid rock. So it
Mhm.
was a mesmerizing sight to see as well. So I think it will always be very memorable being the first one, and also because the scale and the grandeur of the work that they had done was immense. So I think I will always remember that.
Wow. I think if I come to Nashik, I should definitely visit that. I have missed out on that somehow. But next time.
Yeah, absolutely. I would suggest anybody who comes around this part of the country, it's one of the things you can see. It's got a Guinness World Record to it being the tallest Jain statue in the world. So I think it's a sight you should not miss.
Were you scared, nervous? How did you overcome your nerves?
So I wasn't really nervous. I think I was pretty confident in a way to actually do my job, but I was just overwhelmed with the scale of the statue that they had made, and it was on top of a mountain, so it wasn't really an easy task that they would have done. So I personally like a lot of historical monuments and archaeological sites, so I was quite intrigued that way also, that in the future this would become a huge uh, historical site in the future, because it would be standing tall for centuries further. So I think that was quite overwhelming to see of that scale, and so close to where I stay. But yeah,
Right.
I don't think I was really nervous. We also undergo a lot of training. So I had a 20-day training at the London office before I started working, and then we had a few events that I had to just attend to see, how things happen. So there was somebody else who was judging those records. So I just accompanied them to see how it all actually happened. So that kind of gave me some more confidence and practical insight. And then I started venturing out on my own.
Okay. Yes, definitely. Everyone should do that. So, well, when we are on the topic of events that you've covered, any crazy stories that you can share? Any anecdote that stayed with you?
A lot, because every record, whenever you want to do something, there is a huge requirement of you to have that craziness or that passion, because without that passion fueled energy within you, you may not be able to actually execute most of the records that happen now. Even with the first case, when they were building this statue from stone, they came across immense issues and problems and hardships, but they finished to chisel out it perfectly. So I think you need a lot of passion behind it. But whenever I'm asked this question, I always remember some particular incident. So one of them being, there is this group of martial arts experts who are based in Surat.
Okay.
So they have been doing this record for the last at least now 5 years in a row. So there is a record which makes them sleep on a bed of nails. So it's
Oh
a
my God.
wooden plank on which there are nails fitted. So the sharp edge of the nail is actually pointing upwards. So you sleep on it.
Okay.
And there is a slab of nails and the wooden plank kept on top of you as well. So you become sandwiched between these two board of nails.
Oh my God.
And then somebody else will sleep on top of your sandwich, and they will again have a sandwich of nails on and beneath them. So it's like a layer of human nail sandwiches that gets
Why?
created. So the first time when I went to actually see it, it was happening live in front of me with this huge audience also watching and cheering them, and this adrenaline rush that I could see that all of these guys were getting doing it. It was incredible to watch, and I've seen it thrice after that. But it's always been the same enthusiasm and the same, I still feel literally chills when I see them getting on the layers, because there's a lot of weight on you. There are these nails on you,
Yes.
but I think it's just a feat of incredible strength and mind control and training. So it's very impressive to see that people are putting so much effort to prove what they have achieved over years, what strength they have developed, how they have conditioned themselves, and this is just a test to show it. So I think it's incredible to watch people going at different lengths to achieve something, and the joy that they get after I give them the certificate. It's incredible to see that. So I think these kind of records remain with me all the time. And there's one more in particular that I always like to share. It was one in Philippines, where it was in the rural side with a lot of hills, and they had decided to do the record for most number of trees planted in 1 hour.
Okay.
So I personally felt, it's such a great social cause that, tree plantation is anyways need of the hour everywhere. They decided to do that as a record. So that gave them the added advantage of thousands of other people joining in, because some of them would have wanted to be just a part of the record. Not everybody may be interested to actually plant a tree. So some of them would have come to be a part of the record, but that just fuels your goal, and it takes you closer to what you want to achieve. So that's what I feel is good about records as well. It's not just a personal achievement, but it also involves your community together, and you can achieve a bigger, larger goal using record as a tool to do something good. So they managed to plant over 223,000 trees in just 1 hour, with one whole village and other surrounding village coming together and chipping in. So about 10,000 people coming together. So that, and it was a beautiful location as well, right amongst the clouds were just a little above the hills, and beautiful landscape. So, and as you know, Philippines has a lot of tropical forest area as well.
Yes.
So I think that is one beautiful memory that I have.
Wow. I definitely agree with the cool job description. Definitely. It is cool. It is on the top list. So this is like really interesting. And talking about the people on the nail bed. they come out unscathed? They don't have a scratch on their body at all?
No, not really. No blood, no scratches as such. It's just that you see marks of those nails on their body for some time, but there's no permanent or lasting damage, no blood at all. So again, that's just more conditioning of the body to, bear that weight and the nails on you.
I think it requires a lot of core strength as well. So wow, kudos to that.
Absolutely, yeah. Those guys were pretty beefed up, six packs, and that kind of guys, most of them. So.
Okay.
I think they had done enough homework before they started with that attempt.
Yes. Okay. Wow. Uh, well, so now what is this scene? Do you work from an office or do you work from home? And what does a typical day in your life look like?
So I work from home because we don't have a physical office in India. So
Okay.
that's why me or my colleagues, we are all based wherever we want to be.
Mhm.
And the main part of my job is actually traveling to the location where the record is going to happen. And so I go there, I do my work, and then I come back and I'm home. So any other paperwork, report filing, I can do it from wherever I want to be.
Right.
So there are so there's a lot of advantage once again that way, that I get to travel plus I get to work from home. So I think it's a good balance. And I get a lot of time for myself as well.
Wow, you have a balanced life, and
Yeah, and now that I'm married, I get a lot of time for family as well.
yes, and it helps a lot, right? When you have a job that is flexible, because then you can sit at home, you can do the things that you like on the side, and plus file your paperwork, and
Absolutely.
everything is perfect.
Yes, absolutely. That's a big advantage. You can actually plan things for yourself, or do some other hobbies when you have the time. The only disadvantage of this kind of a work routine is that you can't really plan something in advance. So if I want to go on a trip with, let's say, friends on the next weekend or a month from now, even if I plan it and then suddenly some record or I get a request for travel in between, then I have to go. So I can't always know when I'm going to be free and when I'm going to be working. So that's the only drawback, I think. But it's fine. I think, as I said, traveling to all these countries has kind of made up for some of these losses.
It's a good problem to have. So no problem.
Yes. It's just that I'm finding a problem where not really a big problem exists.
Yeah. So I think you've answered the question of what is the most rewarding part of your job. I think travel, but is there anything else that you would like to add to it?
Oh, the traveling was going to be my first answer, but I think but I think more importantly, it's that you see a lot of joy, a lot of satisfaction on people's face, people's heart when they achieve a record, because people have been working for months, putting in a lot of effort, time, and money into arranging big records or big attempts. So they have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of passion within them. And when the record is announced that it is successful, it all just bursts out, and that entire environment that happens there when people are celebrating, it's wonderful to see. So I think that's one thing that I always cherished about my job, that you get to see people, you get to make people happy in a way. So I don't intend to do it because it's not my job to give them the record. It's, if they do it right, then I give them the record, of course. If they don't do it right, I have to deny it, which makes a lot of people very sad. But anyways, I think the satisfaction is something that is a great feeling to have. And you also interact with all these people, as I said, who are very passionate. So that kind of, comes into you in some way or the other. You also feel really good seeing people who are so passionate about something.
Nice. So how has the job impacted you personally? Have the challenges and hurdles that you faced changed you as a person?
Personally, I think the job has been very, how do I put it? It's been very encouraging in a way, because it's brought about a lot of new aspects which I didn't know about, has introduced me to a lot of new concepts, a lot of new places, people, experiences. So I believe it's made me grow up as a person overall. It's also made me appreciate a lot of different things, a lot of smaller things that some people miss out on. Uh, because I've seen people who are not so rich, but doing everything that they can to actually build up a event or build up everything that's required to put out what their skill is in front of the world. So I've seen big corporates putting out everything that they have to actually do a record. So I've seen both these types of people or institutions achieving the same thing in their own different way. So it kind of shows what all things can be done differently. So that's something that I always take back. It's always very inspiring to see people's approach towards what they want to do. So that's that kinds of comes back to me as well. And I always feel that when you meet people who are doing a record, or when you go to them and when they are talking to you about what they want to do, so there's that certain energy that can get transferred also. So that has always made me feel lucky to be in presence of such people who are so passionate and energetic. So I think I always come back very positive when I meet these people and go for a record. It's a very positive impact on me.
Wow, I'm sure that it is. If I were also in that position, I think that it would have impacted me that way. We just watch them on screen and we feel so inspired.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that you were
Yes.
right in the presence. Wow.
Yeah. The entire environment is electric.
Yes, it's definitely is. So, did you ever get a chance to be a role model through the discourse? Have you ever done that?
Yes. In fact, twice I got to meet the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi,
Wow.
twice. The first time was in 2017, and that's the day when I said, that this is it. I have achieved something personally. I've achieved something, and now even if I don't, get any other opportunity, this will always stay in my mind as that one day when I met the Prime Minister. So I still remember I was backstage. He was already sitting on the stage. He had just finished his speech, and then the SPG, his security, asked me to come up when I had to go up on the stage and award the certificate for a record that was done in his honor by the state government of Gujarat at that time. So I went up on stage, I walked towards him, and I could just, feel that radiance and that energy kind of coming out from him. So he's a fabulous personality to meet face to face or to be in his presence. So I think when you watch somebody on TV and when you meet somebody like this at such a great level in person, it's definitely a different experience, and that's something that I can never forget.
Sure.
So I met Mr. Modi again just last year. But apart from that, I have also met a lot of other ministers and a lot of other people as well. Just to add on the list, I've met the president of Indonesia when they had done a record for most trees planted in 1 hour.
Right.
I have met a lot of ministers from the Indian government at in various cities, various stages. I have met a lot of film stars, celebrities, and so on. So I think this profession has also allowed me to interact and meet with a lot of different variety of people at different levels, and that has its own different satisfaction. And I think I'm pretty happy about that.
That you should definitely be. And every interaction has changed you as a person and made you who you are today. So wow. So
yeah, that has.
So apart from doing all this, apart from being an adjudicator, you are also a foodie. You have a page called Hungry Dangry on Instagram. So when was this foodie in you born?
I think I was always quite a foodie that way. For a long time, because ever since I was working and studying in Mumbai as well, which was about 7 or 8 years back, I have traveled to length and breadth of Bombay to find new places to eat, tiny restaurants to try food from. So I've always been somebody who can travel just for food. And then when I started working here, because I keep traveling twice or thrice at least a month, and it's always to a different place, different country, different city at least. So there's a lot of variety to try from. So because of this, I think I've been spoiled more, and I keep experimenting more with food. And I'm never really scared to try something new. So even if it is trying grasshoppers in Bangkok, or if it's trying frogs in Malaysia, so anything that's edible, I can try it. So I don't mind. And then that's how Hungry Dungry, the Instagram thing, kicked off further, and now it's become quite a hobby and a passion as such. So I like to just keep my friends updated with what I'm doing, what I'm eating, and just keep others jealous that way.
Yes, that also helps. It's
always fun.
It is always fun to make fun of your friends. Well, which is the place that you would recommend, at least somewhere close by? Go and try out, definitely.
Well, there are a lot of different places serving great different food, but one place I always feel is there's this tiny, almost shady bar in Sion in Bombay, which serves some of the best seafood, non-vegetarian that I've ever had. It's like Mangalorean and Udupi cuisine. There's a restaurant called Aparna Bar and Restaurant. It's a typical bar, so I don't know if girls actually go there. I've never seen one, but that's how they claim to have a family section. So I think there's a different way to go in as well. So I think if you ever get to go there, I think you should definitely go there and have their beja fry, which is out of this world. So many a times when I'm traveling to Mumbai from here to catch a flight or so, then I just take this detour and go via Sion to just have lunch or dinner there and then come back to Nasik. So I try to make it there as much as possible.
Done. I'm going to Sion next time, and I'm taking a takeaway. Stand outside.
Yes, that's also fine.
So, well, since you're a foodie, do you enjoy cooking as well? And if you do, which recipe have you tried out? Just talk about.
Well, honestly, I think I should credit my start of my cooking to my wife, because I did not really cook a lot before I got married. But I have started to in the last year or so. And I don't think I'm that bad at cooking. I've made kaju masala, which I think I make decently well. So yeah, that's something that I offer to anybody who comes home, and because that's a dish I know I might make in a good way. So yeah, I keep experimenting with cooking. I really want to learn Chinese now. That's on my list. So with high flame, I love that. I love that cooking.
Oh, tossing and everything.
Tossing, turning, high flame, big pans. So maybe I'll do that someday.
Definitely. Send us a video. We'll post it.
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, Swapnil, if somebody wants to get into media and make a mark in the media industry, what message would you like to give them?
I think one should definitely be open to giving your own opinions if you want to get into media. I don't think you should be shy. You should not keep your opinions reserved, because when I was working on, when I've seen people who are at good positions, they've always been people who are not afraid to voice their suggestion or their opinion, because unless you have a different opinion and you're confident enough of putting it out, you will not make a difference. And if you're in the media or the marketing space, you have to create an impact or make a difference. Otherwise, what's the point of being there? So the first thing I would suggest is, yes, be sure of your opinion, think differently, think out of the box, or think something that you will always improve the situation or the product or the service or whatever is in front of you. And don't be afraid to say it out. Even if it is not that great, it's fine. Somewhere it might make an impact, but have the confidence to have your own opinion and try to keep it different from the others.
That's a good message to give. So have your opinion and make sure that you say it out loud. Even if it's silly, who knows, it might make a difference. So we're coming to the end of coming to the last question. Would you say that you have settled, and what does the word settle mean for you?
I think I've always considered myself as somebody who internally or mentally feel settled.
Okay.
So settled, I don't always take it in the literal or the most popular term of settle, which means that you have bought XXX things and then you have reached those levels and so on. I think mentally I'm quite at peace. I am very satisfied as a person itself. So even if it is the highs or the lows, I try to keep always a settled state of mind so that I don't unsettle in my mind. Because I feel if you're settled in your mind, then whatever is the situation in front of you, you will be able to handle it. If
Right.
you have an unsettled mind, you may not always react in the best way. And that's why I feel that, I feel I'm personally very settled. It could have its drawbacks, but that doesn't bother me. But I think it's very important that everybody feels settled at some stage of their life, because ultimately I think that's my opinion. That's the ultimate aim for everyone, that they feel content and settled in a way. So you could be settled with thousands of crores of rupees, or you could be settled with just 1,000 rupees in your pocket. So that may not matter, but how you reach to your own point of settlement and being content is what everybody should look out for.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this message. I'm sure that people will take this away, will make sure that they have a settled frame of mind before they make any decisions, and we'll learn something from this entire episode. Thank you so much, Swapnil, for doing this with
I
me.
hope so too. It's been a pleasure. I don't think I've spoken this openly and about this variety of topics in a long time. So I think it's quite refreshing for me as well.
Oh,
Thank you for being such a good host. And it's very
thank
nice to
you.
talk to you openly about all of these things.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, even this podcast will hit a record-breaking viewership, and then I can get it.
I hope so too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you once again. And all the best to you as well.
Thank you.
Hello, people. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this episode and you like Unsettling, all you have to do is give me a feedback. And for that, please visit my Instagram page, that is Amrita Sukumar _unsettling. And well, you can send me a DM or you can send me a mail. All the details are there on that page. I would love for you to just tell me how you feel. Yeah. And I will get back to you. And if you have any people who would like to share their stories, you have to let me know, because I would love to listen to them. Till then, stay tuned to Unsettling. Like, share, subscribe, follow, let your friends know, and stay safe. Yeah? Bye.